Seoul is set to tear down an old industrial site and turn it into a neighborhood that has everything, so residents won't feel cut off during virus lockdowns. Here are the details. CNN reports that the South Korean capital of Seoul has greenlighted a project to build the world's first self-contained suburb. Designed by Dutch architect firm UNStudio, the suburb will be a so-called 10-minute city, which means that it would have everything any resident needs within a 10-minute walk from his or her home. The project is backed by the Hyundai Development Company, and the plan is to take an old 125-acre industrial site and turn it into an interconnected smart city built around 8 high-rise apartment buildings. Project blueprints show that the high-rises will be connected by a park filled with roads for pedestrians and bicycles only, no cars or trucks allowed. The pedestrian-friendly grounds will also contain supermarkets, co-working offices, study spaces, entertainment venues, fitness centers, swimming pools, and even hydroponic urban farms, where residents can grow their own food. The architects say they also plan to include clean energy generation and rainwater capture systems. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen growing interest in the idea of a 10-minute city, with people around the world working from home and avoiding public transport. The UN recently signed a deal with the Korean port city of Busan to build the world's first floating city on Busan's coastline. Here are the details. Business Insider reports that a historic deal was signed on Thursday, November 18th, to build the world's first ever floating city on the coast of South Korea. The South Korean city of Busan agreed to host such a floating city with the backing of the UN Human Settlement Program and Oceanics, the company that designed the floating city. Like many coastal cities, Busan is threatened by rising sea levels, and the floating city is designed to help such cities expand onto the sea. The city will be based on a collection of hexagonal platforms that float on the water. These platforms will be strengthened by a limestone coating that's more than twice as hard as concrete, while also being buoyant. The city is designed to survive Category 5 hurricanes. It would also be flood-proof as it is designed to rise with the sea. The floating city would produce its own food, energy, and fresh water. Cages underneath the platforms could be used to house scallops, kelp, or other forms of seafood, while aquaponic systems could use waste from fish to fertilize plants. The next step will be for Oceanics and the UN to work with Busan's officials to fine-tune the final design of the floating habitat. Oceanics says the whole process would take a total of 3 years, so it expects to see the prototype in the water by 2025. Walmart billionaire Mark Lohr has launched a jaw-dropping project to build a $400 billion utopian city in the middle of the American desert. Here are the details. CNN reports that recently retired Walmart billionaire Mark Lohr announced plans to build a brand new super city in the middle of the American desert for $400 billion. Lohr said the plan is to construct a utopian city that will be very clean and green, built around the dream of social equality. Famous architect house Bjarke Ingels Group has been hired to design the city, which Lohr has named Thalassa. Renderings of the plan show nature-friendly architecture covered in foliage and people playing in large parks that crisscross the city. The plans also show many green technologies built into the city. Lohr says his team will be meeting very soon with state officials in one of the U.S.'s less populated regions with the aim of receiving the city's first residents by 2030. The project's first phase aims to build enough infrastructure for 50,000 people on 1,500 acres for an estimated cost of $25 billion. The whole city would eventually house 5 million people within 40 years. Lohr said the aim is to create a more equitable city from the ground up, where all citizens would participate in the decision-making and budgeting process. This plan to build a revolutionary new city in the desert echoes that of Mike Reynolds, who after many years of struggling with local authorities, was granted the right to build nature-friendly buildings called Earthships in an area of New Mexico. Over the years, Reynolds' community has built dozens of Earthships which require no external water, electricity, or sewage connections, and thus save the inhabitants thousands of dollars in municipal fees per year. An ambitious new project could soon be providing the very cold city of Helsinki with a sustainable source of heat, while also doubling as an attractive location for Finns to escape the long, harsh Nordic winter. Here are the details. New Atlas reports, citing architecture firm Carlo Ratti Associati, that Helsinki has named the Helsinki Hot Heart project as the winner of its Helsinki Energy Challenge. If the project does go ahead, it will be built in the ocean next to the city and will consist of an archipelago of 10 artificial islands built on top of huge water basins. Each basin will measure 225 meters in diameter and hold up to 10 million cubic meters of water. Energy drawn from wind, sunlight, and other renewable sources will power heat pumps that that will heat water and pump it into the huge water basins. The tanks will act like a big thermal battery, storing the hot water until it's pumped into the city's heat distribution network as required. Additionally, thanks to all the heat being produced, 4 of the large islands will serve as recreational parks with pools and tropical forests installed. The idea is that these will be encased within a transparent dome and LED lighting, allowing locals to enjoy warm parks in the middle of winter. The idea was inspired by the Finnish ideal that everyone has the right to relax and enjoy nature. The designers of the system say it can be expanded to provide all Helsinki's heating needs by the end of the decade while producing 0 carbon emissions. The cost is expected to be 10% lower than Helsinki's current heating costs. Disinfection robots, thermal body cameras, and virus-killing aircon systems. Welcome to the COVID-free office of the future. A workplace in Bucharest filled with antivirus innovations could become the new normal in office design. Here's how it works. The Guardian reports that H3, a large office building in the Romanian capital of Bucharest, features all of the 153 measures of the so-called Immune Anti-COVID Building Standard. When you enter the building, a flick of the wrist opens the door, after which a thermal body camera scans you for signs of fever. If the scanner finds fever, you'll be whisked to a quarantine room with its own separate aircon and air purifying systems. If you're green-lighted by the scanner, you can move to the self-cleaning lift that uses UV lighting to clean the lifts and lift shafts. Inside, you'll find doors fitted with attachments that let you open them with an elbow or lower arm. The toilet cubicles are floor-to-ceiling, enclosing you in your own cubicle with air conditioning. At night, a 1.2-meter-tall robot traverses the building using UV light to disinfect and kill pathogens. During the day, virus-killing hydrogen peroxide ions are emitted from strategic points in the ventilation system. Because visibility of the measures is so important to the designers, transparent panels have been fitted in the ceiling so that the mechanisms can be seen. The point is to reassure them. We don't want people to panic, says Gavin Bonner, one of the main coordinators behind the Immune Building Standard project. The project has brought together health professionals, architects, engineers, IT specialists, and building managers from around the world to help corporations prepare for post-pandemic life.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.